Have you chosen the slide?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, fine. Shall we go? Okay, fine. Good morning again. I see we have a lot of people in the room here. so I'm very much excited because the situation is that very soon we will have the final exam, and the exam has been decided to be a, multiple choice. Okay. And it will have about 50 questions. And it's as always when I have courses, it's very easy. If you have been here, you will be able to have a maximum. Of course, you could be lucky that you could, and then you will also have a full plate. But we have decided that the exam will be so that we will touch upon all the topics that we have gone through here, so that there shouldn't be any questions that has not been worked with. It means that all the questions you will be able to touch upon if you have worked with the different things. One thing I discovered when I was walking around with looking at what the groups were doing is that I see still that there are some that are struggling with the famous B-star. And it's also my observation that you are still mixing different things. So therefore, I thought actually I will help you to this morning, so that you get a little bit more understanding on how you really work with the B star. And then I can also turn a little bit to the B board, and it's just for when I leave here, then you will have the complete knowledge on how to work with this tool or these tools. So on the B star, it's very important that you stick to the phases that you are placed at when you do the multi-business model innovation, or more precise, the circular and sustainable multi-business model innovation. So we don't differentiate between if it's a circular and sustainable multi-business model innovation project or process, or it was, for example, just a plain multi-business model innovation project. The system is the same. There's not any difference. But that means also then when you look at the B-star, and we are in the downloading phase, the first thing you have to commit to in the group is that you when you are in the downloading phase, you are not in the innovation phase. I might sound a little bit harsh here from the morning. It's not my meaning. I just want to help you. So you have to, in your mind, and you have to keep your group members understanding we are not in innovation mode, but your mind and body and your group members and so on, they are often challenged because their brain wants to go into innovation, because innovation, business model innovation, that's equal to happiness, creativity, and all the nice things. But whereas the downloading is more boring, it's actually mapping what we already know. Do you get my point? So you have to be, you have to stick to where you are in the phases. So when you download, you only download, for example, the bee business or the tea candy estate business. So we will have that exercise just afterwards. Let's see if we, and you know, when I have these students, lately I had 150 students. They feel a little bit angry on me because I keep on pushing them to hold to the phases and to stick to the phases, because you are confusing the whole process if you are mixing. So if you have bubbles that are in the business model, the B star, then, and you have that together with full colored hexagons, that means for me as a supervisor, I can immediately see that they are mixing. Am I too harsh? No. So if I see also that one of the dimensions that are not filled out, then I know that the group has not understood the business model. Either it's as is or it's a to be. They simply have not understood the business model. So as a trained supervisor, I can see it. And therefore, I will I go into the process and start to intervene with the group and ask questions. Then I also see what we have achieved yesterday is that now the relations comes in, and I can see they are both full line and they are dotted lines. That's big happiness for me, because then I understand that the learning has gone one step up. The next thing is that I think you have some challenges related to the value chain function. As an example, I think it's very easy for the value formula, because this is just a question of kind of finding out how is the business model calculated. So if it's a tea bag, then how is it calculated? What is the costs? And then you have the earning. And then again, remember, we distinguish between turnover, cost, and earning. So turnover minus cost gives earning. This is not the case in Osterwalder's canvas. He is kind of mixing it. That was the result of our investigation. So it means that you don't get a kind of an understanding on how the business calculates the package of tea if you use the canvas and you follow it very clean. And just to give you a detail here is that why we want to have the calculation is because afterwards, then if you sell 1,000 tons of tea, then you use the calculation formula to find out how much total turnover you have. That you don't get in the canvas. And we need those three: turnover, cost, and earning, so that we can kind of start to calculate is there business here, and how much will it actually generate. Coming back to the value chain function, I try to explain it again. So you have small components in primary and secondary function. So every time you have to, let's say you have to make a bag of tea, then you have different functions that you need to do. Primary functions and secondary function. So primary function would be that they have to uh, pick the leaves of the bush, bring the leaves to the factory, start on the process in the factory, and then step by step cut, dry. If it's black tea, you have to give it some oxygen, I think it was called, oxidation. All these small, tiny things you have to have on the value chain function. Do you see it? So it's kind of, there are some primary function. Then on the back side of it, you have the secondary function. That is the procurement. It's all the HR management. It's all those quality control, sales and marketing, everything that we learned when we read the nice article or the book chapter on value chain function from Michael Porter. Yeah, you remember? So what we are actually doing is we are taking the knowledge that you already have, you've learned, and then we drag it to that dimension. It's the only thing we are doing. So every dimension are building on top of what you already knows. Of course, if you are an engineer and you have never heard about the value chain function, then I can understand. But then we can very easily tell what it's about. So when I look at the value chain function, I would guess that there are several small orange functions that has to be on that one. And if I look here, I can't see any on secondary functions. So immediately as a supervisor, I only have to stand because I'm trained, then I can see here's something that, because normally you would have secondary function in a business model. The same is with competences. I can immediately see there is no technology. There's no hexagons on the technology. Then I start thinking, okay, this is an interesting business model. I have not seen this before. Let me have some questions on this. Do you get my point? And this is built on Prahala and Hamel's famous book on competence. Where the only thing is that we take those who have learned organizational systems and all these, where they probably have met this literature, and then we are just using it again. Again, when we look at the value proposition, the light red here on this one, then if there is hexagons, you can of course group the components and say, okay, everything is in that hexagon. That's possible. That's possible. But as soon as you see that there are only three, then you start to think, aren't there some small components in it that actually is related to value attributes and value attitudes and all that stuff. Users and customers, the same. And then again, related to the network over here, that is that the network is of course physical and digital and virtual networks. And The networks is typically suppliers or others that are involved in it, in the business model. So when the first phase is over, we had 3 phases. We started with listing up what kind of components are in the business model. And then we put them, all of them were put in the yellow. You remember back again. Then we take a picture. Then we drag it back to where they belong in each of the different categories. And then we start to draw up the relations. So then we have a starting point. So when you start with producing tea, then you can choose, of course, to take different starting points, but you have to explain it where you start. And so probably everything might start at the bush. If you don't have any tea bush, then you probably don't have any tea. So the whole thing about planting the bush, treating it, giving it water, securing it, and so on, picking it, and so on. That is actually what we want to see when you start to walk the way from the bush until you have the package, until you have the sales, until the customer receives it, until the customer pays, until the money comes back to the business. Because if you don't have the full circle and the money sits on your bank account, or if it's other value, then you don't have a business model. So you have to think every step through, and that's why the numbers here are important, because the numbers shows you the way the business model goes, and you can, from that one, you can actually see how it works, or if you are a startup, how it doesn't work, because you can actually see it here. So if you can imagine that we have studied the factory of Mercedes, the car manufacturer. We have been into that one. Then it gets very complicated, because if you are manufacturing a Mercedes car or an Audi or a Volkswagen, then you can maybe imagine that the number of relations in here is huge. And you can actually, with the relation software, we can actually go in and cut different layers, and then we can study each of the layers. And often we cannot study it without having computer software that can actually give us the pictures of the relations and so on. Also, for example, if you have if you are more into the organizational systems and HR and networking and so on, we have software that can simply find out what is the relations around such a business model. I have seen some in Stanford where we could track who is actually those who decide and are the enablers of all the startups. In California, Silicon Valley, in Boston, Massachusetts, in Manchester, in Oslo, and we can track it down to very few people that are actually the nuts that decide on what is a startup and not in it. It's very few people. It's not many often. So with this morning speech here, I really would like you just to have one more go on this, if you are okay with that, with this knowledge. And it's simply because I think we can do a little bit trimming on this, and then we'll take the presentation. Is that okay? Yes. And then also in the groups, you have to kind of lead the process, so you can often not afford that if anybody is not in the process. Uh, I'll try to explain it with an example I studied in my PhD. That was actually a very great business that were world leader on slaughtering machines for chickens. And uh, this CEO, he had a team that went around on all their business model innovation projects, and they were watching all the time who were contributing to the process. And if you can, I give this as a picture. If you have a kind of a bubble here, where you have 5 or 6 participants that are innovating next upcoming chicken slaughtering machine, then if one of them are not contributing, the hand comes in and grabs the participant, take it out, him out or her out, and put another one in. I know it sounds very cruel, but that's actually what he told me that he was doing, and then he could see that the process were valued, and it goes forward. That does not mean that the one that was not valuing were not working. It was just out of his zone of competence. They in that process, if we look at the different stages here, and we are doing a circular sustainable business model, then when we are moving here, we need different competences. That's why I claim, and our research claim, that maybe the most important department and most neglected department in many businesses is the department of HR. Because the department of HR should actually be able to have a catalog of what competences we have in the business or not. And then every time we in the business model innovation process need a specific competence, then they should be able to find it and put it in. Do you get my point? It's like, we are we are cooking something, and then we are thinking, it's not tasting quite the way we would like. We need this and this and this. Then they should have an overview of where is it actually. So I think just an extra 15, 20 minutes where you work with the business model that you have decided, and then I really want to see all the relations and the numbers on, and the dimensions, the components attached to the relations. Is it okay? Okay, so we have 15, 20 minutes on this, and then we go on. All works, and it doesn't matter if it's a B business or it's a T business or it's a Ford motor or whatever. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just exercise. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. You want? Okay. At what? Sorry. No, not. You don't need to add the figures. Now you have, if you think you have all the components that is in the business model, and you are very sure about it, very sure, then you take a picture, and then you drag them out. You know there were 3 steps. Then you drag all the components out so where they belong to. So if it's user and customers, you drag them out. If it's value chain functions, you drag them out on the value chain functions. If it's a value proposition over here, I can see there's only 2. Then you drag them out. Yeah. Yes, exactly. But before you drag them out, you take a picture, and then you drag them out. Then you take a picture, and then you start to draw up the lines, and then you walk the way through the business model. And every time you take one step, then you mark it with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7. Yeah, yeah. So you can actually follow the road that the business model takes. So if you think about you are producing tea, you can actually see what they are doing in the production, drying, uh, packaging, and all this. And every time you have to pack some tea, then you need maybe to have some employees. Maybe you need some machine. So then you go over and point to which machine, which employees is involved in it. So then you suddenly you can see exactly who's involved in it, and then you get a picture also of the critical points in the business models. So it's a kind of, deep understanding of how the business models actually works. It looks, very smart, but sometimes even the manager he doesn't understand how the business model works. Yeah. You see, it gets like spaghetti. Yeah, it gets very, yeah. And then, of course, if you think that there are some relations that are kind of in the same group, as you remember we did with business models, if they belong to each other, then you can actually use same color for the relation. But I don't want to add that right now. I'm just saying that it's possible to do. So you can, yeah. Yeah. So you're still on the pencil here. The pencil is your focus. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Is it a new pencil? This pencil you have proposed here, is it a new one or is it one that already exists in business? It's a new one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you agree in the group that it's a new one or it's a changed one? It's a new one. Are we sure? Everybody. So now you can see I'm playing supervisors. Because if you think, two of you, that it's not a new one, you think it's an old one we are changing, then we have something to discuss in the group. Are you adding components? So the first exercise you did, there were not enough components you have added now. Okay, yes, that's also what you get out of the process. You sometimes see that there's something that you have not thought about initially. Yeah. There's a lot of work with it. Okay. Yeah.
We have seen you having that.
Yeah. Sometimes. Yeah. Yeah.
It was definitely a vaccine or whatever.
Yeah. Why not take that one? Yes. Yes.
Currently, we have managed to find out the representation network and the user customer competencies study right now. And right now, so we are trying to formulate the formula for
Yeah. Yeah.
what is the current profit or loss that the
Yeah.
company occurs.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are trying.
Yeah. 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 And if we take it in, for example, an entrepreneur's perspective, uh, sometimes they have not even thought about the price and the value formula. They have not thought about it. So when they meet a customer, then the customer second question they ask, "How much do you want for it?" Oh, we have not thought about it. And that's very sad because you should actually be prepared before you go in the market.
Something in my mind.
Yeah.
That in India, currently there are a lot of events. Like the event management process is currently like it is booming business in India
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
So can business in this particular type of business, distillery, particularly distillery and other waters manufacturing companies like Aquafina like this, they are coming some sort of business like they can introduce their water bottle that are not easily available in the market. The water packaging bottle is quite different.
Yeah.
We see the normal bottles shape. They are turning the bottle's shape into some sort of a luxurious bottle and sell the same bottle, same quantity of water,
Yeah.
In any sort of wedding or any sort of events like this functions, they can sell the same bottle
Yeah.
with a different packaging in a higher amount of price.
They can do, certainly. Yes.
So this can be a value proposition model for the company, or for it will be a competency for the company.
It will be a value proposition. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then, of course, when you get the order, then you drag on the competencies over here. But I think also what you are addressing is, of course, that if they already have the competence to do it, then it's just to take them up and then mix it in a different way, and then yes, yes, definitely. And often businesses, they are not aware on what their capabilities are actually, because they're walking around in the business and they are not actually seeing that the human resource, the technology, or the organization system, or the culture can actually provide new business or change business, and it's the potential. They are not using the potential of their competencies, unfortunately. Many times, many times. We have seen that so many times. So yes, that's doable. And I guess it's also it's actually the CEO and the management that are failing here because they're not still seeing the full potential of their business, and that's sad. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, yeah. I'll take a little bit more of your nice water. You're done? Yes. Uh, yeah. What's happened with your fingers?
Got
In what sport?
We were playing kabaddi. And somebody sat on my foot.
Oh, oh,
But I won.
you won.
Worth it.
um, yeah, and
Taken up the books business.
yeah, I think actually what we will do is we will all go around and then we will have a look and hear all the business models. So I think when we finish this first lecture, then just after we will start and then we will go around. The only thing is I'm not sure how far the other groups are. You you are still struggling with your pencil. So, because I think there is a lot of learning when we see the other groups how they have done it. Yes, just 2 minutes then, because we are coming to the close of the first lecture, um, and I can see you are in different stages. Yeah. How far are you? You are still lacking some numbers on the relations. Yeah. So you need a little bit extra time. Yeah. Yes. 10 minutes. Yes.
बहुत सही
So, so yeah. So this is a business to business business model. This is a business to business business model.
Business to customer, B2C.
Oh, it's a B2C. Okay, okay. So that's very clear because everything is.
Yeah.
So you can see if you look at it, you'll see immediately what type of business model it is. Um, yes. What is the calculation on it?
We have to add numbers.
Okay. No. I'm just thinking, what is the calculation on this book? What is your value formula?
Basically, the main costs are the maintenance, the procurement costs, and sale prices are basically what we are like. It's not exactly the cost, what prices we'll set, and this will be the cost minus the revenue that we are generating from the books, retail sales. So that is our. Costs are also there when we are procuring books from publishers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
These are our main two costs, and that will be our revenue minus the revenue, which will get the earning.
yeah. But then, how much is will the price be? How do you calculate it?
So first we have to research regarding the market, what prices others are selling, and we have to know the competitors
Yeah.
in order to know what prices are they setting in the market.
So you are doing a competitive pricing.
No,
Yeah.
see that how much cost are one book contains how much cost will
Yeah.
that, and then we'll add a profit and then we'll put the price.
Okay.
You see, we are starting the whole business by the cost of price. So
Yeah.
anyway, the competition angle is there. We have to know who
Yeah.
are our rivals and all.
Yeah.
So firstly, we have to determine what is the scenario in the market.
Mm.
For that, we need market research.
Yeah.
So this is the starting point of our business.
Yes. 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 Okay.
So from this, we will be going to the publishers.
Yeah.
Publishers to procure the basically to form a network of publishers from whom we can get the books, a good mix of books which
Yeah.
are in demand, which are trending in the market. A good mix of fiction, non-fiction books, academic books, everything which is trending. So gets connected to book sourcing basically. How will
also a
source the
value
books?
chain function too.
Inbound logistics basically. How will
Yeah.
source the books from publishers?
Okay. Yeah.
And when we are sourcing it, we have the procurement cost.
Yeah.
The main thing that we
Yeah.
have, the procurement cost. And yeah, what are the different types of books?
Yeah.
According to the cost, what are the different types of books that we can keep? That is like cost friendly to us as well, so that we can use
Yeah.
put a good revenue.
Yeah.
Each has authors from which covers authors from maybe different culture, maybe different
Mm.
like
A dynamic, basically,
Yeah.
everything mixed.
we
Yeah.
also have certain bubbles too in the business. Maybe we can consider some book rental options for customers who are not willing to pay a one-time price for a book. Maybe
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
for them. Also, we have the option of audiobooks.
Okay.
This is a